Sarah, your life coach here at Make a Wave Life Coaching. Welcome back to this episode. We are returning to our self-care theme and knowledge here. And today we're starting in the second self-care quadrant. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to our previous episode on self-care and you'll learn about the 4 quadrants of well-being. Today we're jumping into the second quadrant of well-being, which is your mental well-being. Another way of saying that is your thoughts. Okay, we've already done emotions, which is feelings, and now we're going to do mental, which is your thoughts. That alone is a huge distinction, to know that you have thoughts and feelings, and those two things are separate. So you're welcome. Okay, so this is going to be really short and great. Right now, we're all home, many of us, with this pandemic, and there's just like lots of feelings that are coming up, and we're having a lot of thoughts. So again, those are two separate things. I want to encourage you to take control of your thoughts. Like Paul told us in the Bible, we need to take captive every thought, okay? That is where you find freedom. All right, here is, I don't know. Okay, so when I was young, like 10 years ago, I was a young mom. And those days were really hard for me. Some people like young kids. I felt so exhausted by that stage of parenting, and they're so irrational. Now I'm home with a teenager 24/7 for the last month, and I think that is like pretty easy. So that's cool. Just remember, as a parent, like everyone has their phase of life that they're, or like phase of childbearing that they're good at, and yours might not be now. But give yourself grace around that, because you will have a phase that you're like good at. Okay, when my kids were little, I was really worn out and exhausted like every day. And I was in therapy over some anger, my ongoing anger issues, which is like the thorn in my side forever. And my therapist was like, "You're so hard on yourself." And I was like, "What? I know what kind of mom I can be. And this is not it." And she was like, "Why don't you tell me your dream day? If you did everything you think would be perfect, what would your day be like?" And I went on and on and on. And I told her, basically, like, in my mind, my thoughts, I thought that being a perfect mom meant being June Cleaver. And so that's a fictitious character who doesn't even exist, and no mom's ever been that way. But then when I went in and I kind of told her all the details, it turned out that what I thought was a good mom was somebody who was emotionally and physically available to their child 24/7. I literally described it as like, anytime he was available, I would just sit on the couch and snuggle with him, or this or that. And she was like, "Well, when would you cook? And when would you clean? And when would you, have a life?" And it wasn't until that moment that I realized that my thoughts were totally inaccurate. I didn't even agree with them, but I hadn't analyzed them, okay? And so they were driving this feeling. And the feeling inside of me was like, I'm never going to be good enough. I'm blowing this every day so bad, and I'm not the mom this kid deserves. All these really shaming thoughts. Feelings. And the feelings came from the shaming thoughts. And the thing is, it turned out I didn't even actually, when I really looked at them, I didn't even agree with those thoughts, okay? And so she helped me work through that, about like, let's think about actually what a perfect, as good as you can be mom would be. And let's make that our goal. And then we need to give ourselves a lot of grace, because honestly, being a mom is super hard, and we're going to blow it every day. Many times every day, we're going to blow it. So that was just like this huge reframe for me, and it really changed my thoughts. And over time, it changed how I felt about myself as a mother. Okay. So I just want to share that with you as a little story to kind of like show you the power of your thoughts. So during this pandemic, we all have all these thoughts coming up. It's good to be aware of your thinking pattern. I don't want to go into all the patterns right now. You can Google them. Thinking patterns. Mine tend to be catastrophic. We develop our thinking patterns most often in childhood, and they serve us well then, sometimes, but usually we have constructed a different life for ourselves as an adult, and oftentimes our thinking patterns do not serve us anymore in our adult life. But here's the thing, we haven't looked at them square on and thought, this isn't even accurate anymore. So the first thing you need to do for your mental well-being is to take captive every thought, like Paul tells us in the New Testament, okay? 2 Corinthians. How do you do that? Look at your thoughts. If in this pandemic, you're totally overwhelmed and you're parenting all day, or you're wifing out all day, or you're trying to be like a great employee and a great wife and a great mom, and you're just totally spun out and on empty, stop and ask yourself, like, what are your actual thoughts about what it means to be all of those roles? And is it even possible to meet your own, goals? And do you need to reassess what's actually possible for you as a human being? And then take captive those thoughts. When those thoughts come up, like, oh, it doesn't matter, I can't do any of this, I'm a failure, just ask yourself, like, is that true? Okay? That's the first step, taking captive every thought. Secondly, monitor your self-talk. This is like the gift that keeps on giving. We all have this narrative. It might sound like a mean parent you had growing up, or a mean teacher, or, I don't know, who knows what it sounds like. But now you need to take captive that talk, okay? So when you feel yourself being like, oh, I'm a terrible mother because I said that, be like, really, are you a terrible, talk to yourself. Are you really a terrible mother because you yelled at your kid for 1 second or something, even though he maybe had it coming? So number one, take captive your thoughts. Number two, monitor your self-talk. It's very powerful. Just watching it and talking truth to it is going to change your life. It takes many years of practice, but every time you do it, you're rewiring that brain to be better towards yourself. And number three, I think the best thing we can do right now in the pandemic is to take our anxious thoughts, the what if thoughts. What if I'm fired? What if I lose my home? What if I never get a job again? What if we run out of money? What if we get sick? All these super scary things, okay? It's okay. We're all having scary thoughts, but here's the thing. You need to take your what if thought and turn it into a what is thought. That is going to help keep the anxiety at bay. So when you feel yourself spinning into future thinking, remember that Jesus tells us not to do that. He tells us to take one day at a time because tomorrow's going to have its own troubles, okay? So stop and be like, you know what? I'm thinking what if, but the truth is I need to be in the moment. What is true right now, and talk yourself through that. And just all day, you're going to be grabbing those what if thoughts and bringing them down to what is right now. Okay, I hope that helped. Join us next week when we are going to be jumping into the next quadrant of well-being, which is your physical health. Okie dokie, we will see you then. Take care. Don't forget to subscribe, makeawaylifecoaching.com, if you would like to get a once a month amazing email, including our very extensive self-care list that only went to our email subscribers. All right, you take care. Bye-bye.